Proteas are currently in the United Kingdom for this year's Quad Series in London. It gets underway tomorrow and is played until the 19th of January. That's mid next week. The other teams taking part are England, Australia and New Zealand. South Africa are the 5th ranked side in the world, while Australia are ranked number 1. The world champions New Zealand ranked number 2, and the Commonwealth Games Champions England ranked in at number 3 in the world. It's not going to be an easy tournament, but let's hear what their captain Bongi Msomi has to say. She joins me now from London. A very good evening and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good evening and thank you so much for having me.
The Quad Series is so exciting because when you want to see where you match up, you have to measure yourself against the best in the world, and you really do have the best in the world, the top 3 that you're going up against, and you're starting off with the host England tomorrow.
Oh, most definitely. I think if there's a time where the SPAR Proteas understands that there's a tough job at hand, it's actually this time. But if everyone can remember when we played the World Cup in 2019 where we did really well, it was literally after we've had a couple of Quad Series competition, and I think that's really helped us in preparations of, tough games ahead. So this is just a great time for us. We always look at it as, you can always grab something out of this. And we've shown before, that we have potential as a group. And I think this time it's more exciting because there's some of the key players that are not here and some, young talent coming through, which is really, it would be great to see how, everyone just got on from Saturday and pulled through.
Bongi, what results are you and the team hoping for in this competition?
Oh, firstly, going to this competition knowing it's going to be tough, but everyone wants to win. So that's the first thing. This is sports, and going into it knowing exactly that you're playing the top guns in the world is even more exciting, because if you can grab a win, that's going to be, history itself. So I guess the most exciting thing and what gives us confidence is that either way we go out, we grab a win from a great performance as a side, because like you said before, we've played in Namibia recently. We played African teams, and that's completely different. Now we're going to have to go ahead and play these top countries. And if we can have 1, 2 wins, 3, that'll be so exciting for us. So I guess one has just to go on and think we've got this, because we've played these teams before, and we've been close in a couple of encounters. We did beat England in one of the Quad Series games before as well. So starting against them, I think that also gives us I guess that confidence. We know exactly that they've got such an experienced side this time around, which I guess is an advantage even more for us, because you want to go out and give, I guess the new talent some time to get out and experience, these tough matches, especially it's Com Games year this year, and we also obviously hosting a World Cup next year.
That's the other thing. You guys are in the UK, although the games are not going to be held in London, which is where you guys will be participating for this Quad Series at the Copper Box. You are in the United Kingdom, you are in England, which is going to host the Commonwealth Games. Just how important is this competition for preparations for that event?
Oh, it's very important. I think if one can really be excited about preparation, it's actually now where you're playing, like you said, the top countries. All these countries are ranked, 1 to 3. So us being 5th in the world, I think we can really just be excited to go out against them, and then going to Com Games knowing exactly what to expect or what to work on. Every tournament and preparations, which is now, is, you take what you get at that time and you play along with what you have. At this point, I guess every team is coming here not knowing what each team has, which I guess it's an advantage for all of us here. So we will see and understand exactly what the tournament will bring, throughout when the first games goes, and that's probably us being lucky because we're the first one. So it's really is exciting, and you want to prepare against the best to know exactly where you stand. And that's what we're going out here, we're going with so much confidence, knowing that there cannot be any other best competition than literally going to play the top 3 in the world.
Just how much time has the national netball team been able to play together? You mentioned that African tournament, of which the team easily won. Very little competition, going to be very different now in London. How much time has the South African team been able to spend together and been able to actually play competitive matches?
To be honest, there's never enough time. Obviously, in sports, you always consistently want to work together in terms of combinations. And if you miss a couple of players, those who come in to fill in the spots actually need more time as well to gel in certain combinations. But I guess we had time last year in March, to play some competition against Uganda as well. And going through towards the end of the year, we did go to Northern Ireland and we played there as well. And that competition again was completely different because the teams we played against, most people know the results were quite high from our side, which was good. But I guess it doesn't really give the true reflection of what you're going to get come the quite serious now, which is what we are looking forward to now, to having that change of competition, the toughness on courts, which is what we really probably didn't get at times. We did play Scotland as well. We played Wales at some point. So I guess those are the teams that I can say at that time, it's what we had. We wanted to play Jamaica. We couldn't because of COVID-19. I guess it's been affecting most people, not just us. And then later on, then we played Africa Netball Cup, which we were lucky, obviously, to come through as champs again. But again, I have to say the performances there was quite really impressive, especially from the new caps. So I guess with the team changing all the time, the best parts of this is you can only get the time that you get to prepare, and we're really now looking forward to grabbing this with both hands. It's still as challenging. We all know that it's still COVID-19 times, the amount of time that we have to test every single day, to ensure that we all, don't have COVID-19, because we all know you can't compete if you do. So that stress alone is quite big, and it's something that everyone is constantly looking to take care of that alone itself before you even get into, preparations for such an event. But besides anything, I guess we're known to be, the tough cookies here, and the more we're being challenged, even off course, it actually gets us pumped to go out there and play, some good netball. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I know the girls are looking forward to it. We constantly have chats, even outside, our trainings. So Saturday must just come now.
Sure. So Friday it's England, then it is the world top-ranked team in Australia on Saturday, and then on Monday it is New Zealand. I want to ask you something a little bit different just as we wrap up, Bongi. As much as COVID-19 and the pandemic has affected and impacted our national team, you as a player, as somebody that is going to be passing over the reins to the young talent that is coming through, somebody that has a foundation of your own, been involved in coaching for a number of years, how concerned are you about the disruption to the development pipeline that we've currently seen because of the pandemic, with school sports not taking place and so many youngsters getting lost, and perhaps we even lose stars, would-be stars, for our national netball team?
To be honest, it's very much of a concern. And like you said, I get a chance to work with so many young athletes coming through, and constantly some of the conversations that I have to, find myself getting involved with are quite disheartening, because one can take this, but it's not the same as, the other. And the more you can't take, the pressure that comes with COVID-19, or even, the less chances that you get to go out and compete as an athlete yourself. If you get, let's just think about it, under 13 child getting selected to go into a competition, and then only to hear a week or 2 weeks before that the competition is cancelled, and you've been waiting for months to months for that competition. That alone, I can assure you, it's something that no one in sports wants, to experience. It's really hard. But also, if you think about teams, I'm thinking at university level, even high schools, where you want to prepare in advance, to ensure that there's stability in your team. You cannot do that if we constantly having to go on lockdown because COVID-19 comes and goes. And especially at a time where you think, okay, now we're set, then it starts again. But then the priority then becomes, life comes first. As much as we would want to go ahead with sport, even at those times, you literally start thinking it affects people differently. So if one can get away with, living with it and still be fine, it's not guaranteed that it can happen the same, to someone else. But it really is tough. And if we think about it, the testing itself is not cheap. Like, you literally have to pay to go and test. and different backgrounds we come from. Some of these kids cannot even be able to afford to buy their own shoes, playing shoes. And if we have to make sure that you're COVID-free, you don't have COVID-19, to have to join a group for training sessions, sometimes you really have to go and test. So that this involves a lot of things on the side, rather than just thinking there's COVID-19 that we have to deal with. It's really also mentally draining. I mean, I was myself, been in the sports for years, but I still find it really hard to get up every morning and having to test and wait for the results, because that alone is quite stressful, not only for sports, but you want to think of the implications at the end as well. You don't want to be at risk. So it's a big one, and one can only hope that it's going to come to an end at one stage. It has to, and obviously deal with it the best way we can, which I guess there's a lot of resources being available to us. I guess people really need to probably take that on board.
Yeah. Bongi Msomi is our national netball captain. Thank you so much, and all the best of luck with the quad series. Featuring in that competition, it is the hosts England, the world's top-ranked team Australia, as well as the world champions New Zealand.